Today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report, Coach LaMonica and I will preview the Tigers game against William & Mary. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Hello and welcome to the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. Towson will look to bounce back this week when they take on the Tribe of William & Mary. To preview the match, I'm joined, as always, by the head coach, Sonia LaMonica. Coach,
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, the Tribe, William & Mary, 3-8 on the season right now, coming off of a loss to Richmond. At a glance, what's your impression of the Tribe team this year?
I think, in all honesty, we've spent a little time dissecting sort of our breakdowns from our last game and how we need to be better. I think that's the first step before we can kind of move on to our next opponent. So we've been talking a lot about our own sort of body language, our attitude, our ability to respond to tough situations in games, and that we've got to do a better job. And now we can start looking to William & Mary and it's just like anything. I think it's a unique opportunity for us to, now we get to move on and now we get to face another opponent. And it's going to be an important game for us to sort of regroup, regain our confidence, our trust in knowing that, we are a great team and we've got to demonstrate it each and every day at practice and in every single game. So that's going to be important if we want to set ourselves up well for conference play and to be in that CAA tournament. We're going to have to take care of business, and William & Mary is going to be a great opportunity for us to do that. So I'm excited to see how our team responds after a tough loss.
And last game, 9-5. I'm sure the offense wasn't up to your standards in that game. Just 2 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
In practice, you mentioned the mental toughness, the mentality. Yeah. Is there anything schematically or skill-wise that you guys need to stretch this week in practice?
It's so connected, the mental side of the game to the schematics and to the little things that we need to do well. When you are mentally rattled or you are feeling the pressure, I think that's the big challenge, and great teams find a way to keep their focus and continue doing the little things well and not allow the scoreboard to dictate how you play and starting to panic. So we had to go back to kind of revisiting our basics and our movement off ball, which was something that we were missing in this last game. We saw a lot of individuals feeling like they had to make something happen, and that resulted in them trying to do it all themselves when, our system has been grind the defense, move the ball, move off ball, work for each other, and be patient and not be one and done. So, there's some of the things that we're going back and revisiting, that off-ball movement, the give-and-go lacrosse on offense, and trusting and believing in each other, having a bit of fire. So those were some deficits that were a byproduct of, I think, just our mental side that, we've got to make sure that we're doing those little things each and every day.
And you mentioned that some players maybe felt the need to try to force or try to make something happen. And you have players that can take games over in Caitlin Montalbano, Natalie Samonte, Emily Gillingham, Carly Telekamp.
Yeah.
How do you get them to relieve themselves of that pressure or that need that I need to do it, or when they do have so many dangerous weapons all around?
Well, and that works. Those players can make things happen, but that only works when your off-ball players are doing their job too. So while it can look and appear like an individual sort of takes over, it's the off-ball players that are doing their part in that production. And that's something that we were missing. Had we had a little more awareness of that and a little more ability to do those things, we probably would have seen, what looks like some players taking over. We saw Emily Gillingham having some nice drives, slicing in through the defense, through the gaps, but when we don't do our job adjacent and leverage those defenders, well, they're able to crash harder, and get in front of that and stop that. So, yeah, it's a little more focused on our job as decoys, as off ball, and that is as, if not even more valuable than the individual who is, drawing the slide and finding the feed or able to slice through and score off of a drive. It's going back to understanding how important that those roles are for our offense to be successful.
The Tribe, their leading scorers, Lindsey Jenks, McKinley Wade, they lead the team. What's special about them? And they're really shouldering the load right now for William & Mary.
Yeah, it's again, I think we just have to make sure that defensively we are doing our job, that we come into the first whistle of the game playing disciplined. We've got to play disciplined, defensively. And that means closing the gaps in our zone. That means, refraining from swinging. And we can't afford to do that on players such as those. We're going to have to make sure we've got good ball pressure, which we've done a relatively good job of. So we've got to continue to do that. And, if we can do those things, I think we're going to limit the opportunities there for William & Mary's key players.
And your defense in that JMU game, they struggled a little bit in that first half as well, giving up the 7 goals.
Yeah.
And you got a team in here in William & Mary coming in that has no player with double-digit assists and averages 18 turnovers a game. Is this a team where maybe your defense is kind of, excited to see a William & Mary team coming in, a team that doesn't move the ball or take care of the ball necessarily well?
I think we've got to respect any opponent that we face. I think you get into trouble when you start sort of downplaying any opponent. We're in conference play now, so William & Mary wants to prove themselves. They've played a pretty tough schedule. They've played some tough teams, and we've got to make sure that we're doing our job because we've had a 2-game. I say a 2-game skid a little bit because our Oregon game is kind of where we started to see some issues, and that carried into JMU. So, for us, it's a little more important that we correct ourselves here and grow and get better. And William & Mary's sort of the team that's up next, and that's who we've got to make sure we're doing our due diligence with so that we can put our best foot forward moving through the rest of conference play.
The Tigers and Tribe are scheduled for a 7 o'clock opening draw on Friday. I'll have the call on TowsonTigers.com starting at 6:45. Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck against William & Mary.
Thanks.
And thank you, fans, for joining us. For head coach Stoney LaMonica, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Hope to see you at the U, and as always, go Tigers.